You know that saying, doctor, heal thyself? Well, there's a reason that exists. While I'm not a doctor, for all of us, it can be really hard to kind of take our own advice, right? And I recently had an experience that was really kind of interesting and a little bit surprising for me, actually quite surprising. And I thought I would share it with you because, first, kind of to let you know that you're not alone in the struggle of doing the things that we know we should do. um, and also as a reminder for you to make sure that you are honoring yourself. So, welcome. I'm Peggy Oliveira. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. So, I run a group that periodically I run a group. It's predominantly in Facebook. And as part of that, I share posts throughout the time that we're together with practices and prompts for the healing journey. And one of the things is a post that gives them an opportunity to just kind of honor and notice what is present for them, what struggle might be there, practices for receiving support, for celebrating things, different kinds of things like that. And one day, I don't typically do any sort of commenting or anything like that from my phone, but sometimes I will get on Facebook and I'll see that there's a notification where somebody's commented or something, and I may see it. I'll read like the first portion that I can see. I'm on there, but I don't really ever respond from my phone. Maybe it's my age, I don't know. But anyway, so I happened to just get on my phone. I was sitting on my sofa, got on my phone, and saw just the very first few like sentences or lines of a comment on one of my posts. And it was such an interesting experience for me, because I think what happened is the person, I believe, probably copied and pasted somehow. I don't exactly know what happened. Or maybe I just imagined it. I don't know. But what I saw in the comments, so I saw the person's name that she had commented, and as I started to read her comment, I found myself just feeling this emotion. It took me a few moments to recognize what it was that I was actually reading. But so I think she copied and pasted my caption from the post. And so the caption in the post started with, "How are you? Really? Take a moment, check in with yourself, and just notice. How is your heart feeling? How is your body feeling?" So as I'm reading this, believing that this is what she is saying, and this is important because, I wrote the post. I reread the post and make sure that there are no typos. At least I try to do that. They always slip through. But so I know what the post said. But because I thought she was saying it, I was paying more attention, right? I was really present with what she was saying. Even though I wasn't going to comment right then, I was really engaged. And so as I read that, and I read the question I thought she was asking, "How are you? Really? How are you?" Take a moment. So as I'm reading this, and then I got to, "How is your heart feeling?" And I think that's when the next sentence was, "How is your body feeling?" When I started to read that one, I was like, oh, wait a second. But up till that point, I thought she was asking the question. And it just hit me in a way that was really surprising and kind of emotional, because in that moment, I was asking myself that. I actually took that moment to notice that there was something that was present within me, that my heart was feeling a little tender, that my body actually wasn't feeling very good. I was on my second round of antibiotics within less than a month, with a pretty bad infection. So I wasn't really feeling great. It had been a big year, and I didn't realize how big of a year it was in terms of just stress. But in that moment, as I read it, it was just such an interesting experience. And I thought about it when I felt that emotion kind of come up a little bit. I thought, and noticing that tenderness in my heart and just physically not feeling great, I thought about how earlier in the year I hadn't been feeling well, and I had some different things going on medically. I had some good things going on, but still created stress, right? And I think that's an important thing that we need to keep in mind, that even things that are good can still create stress for us. And stress, even when it's good stress, can create vulnerability. And the more stress we have, the more vulnerable we are. If there are some things that create struggle over a period of time, and we haven't really been able to work through it or honor it, it's going to increase vulnerability as well. And so that was kind of a catalyst for me. And I was like, oh my God, I really have not been practicing what I preach. And I really then allowed myself to do some journaling and just kind of sitting with, how am I really doing? And kind of feeling into that and thinking about kind of being surprised in how I was feeling overall, and just really recognizing and honoring that 2022 was kind of a big year. Started off with my children, my kids, my grown kids, visiting, which is great, but it's stressful. Good stress, but still stressful. And then I had the skin cancer diagnosis, and I had the procedure, and then I got an infection, and then getting ready for my son's wedding and planning the travel and driving, I don't know, 1,200 miles, 1,400 miles, whatever, taking our dog. I didn't know how our dog was going to do, being there for 3 weeks, worrying about whether things were going to go okay, worrying about them traveling for their honeymoon and COVID, and she ended up getting COVID, and just a lot of different things going on for that. And then we came back, and my husband had to hurry up and travel, and then I got an infection again. Apparently didn't completely go away, flared back up. And then in the middle of those 2 infections, it being confirmed that my biological father is not the man I thought he was. So it was kind of a lot. And we often can tend to think, and I am obviously guilty of this too, that, none of those things in and of themselves were really, really bad, right? Even the skin cancer, fortunately, it was the best type of skin cancer to get. They weren't really concerned about it spreading or anything like that. It's completely gone. And even with the infection and potential for needing surgery, still things that can be done about it. It's not, terminal or anything like that. But I minimized each of those, right? Like we often tend to do. And I can be very guilty of that as well. But part of that minimizing is about, okay, yes, I'm dealing with this, but I don't have time right now to be with that. I don't have time right now really to feel that. I've got these other things that I need to be doing. And so it really helped me understand that. And that really kind of set me on this path to recognizing I need to really do a better job of honoring myself, honoring what I need, honoring what I want, because that's one of the things I talk about all the time too, right? Is honoring your wants and your needs, identifying what your needs are. And So as I planned for 2023, thinking about how do I want to feel this year, most years I find that my mind goes to things related to work. I want to feel inspired and creative and motivated, which is all great. And I love my work. And those are things that I do want to feel. And I love being in that kind of creative flow space. It feels really nice for me. But this year, because of this experience, I believe it's because of that, I found myself really visualizing, like not intentionally, but just finding my mind creating these visuals of being among friends, whether it was one friend or a few friends. I'm not necessarily a big group person in terms of my personal relationships, but like just being with people, connection, ultimately. Like the word connection kept coming up for me. And then seeing myself connecting with others, and then seeing myself like laughing, so feeling joy. And so that really helped me understand the reality of this past year. So a lot of honoring happening in that. And then kind of creating the opportunity, this spaciousness to think of what can I do? How can I work to shift some of that feeling so that I can be more honoring of what is present for me? Because especially the stuff with my biological father is going to be an ongoing thing. And there's already been lots of ups and downs. So trying to just be really mindful of how do I continue to honor that? What do I need to put in place to make sure that I can tend to my heart and my body and bring in that feeling and that experience of connection? So I actually ended up reaching out to a couple of people, one that I hadn't spoken to since last spring, I think. Another person that I hadn't spoken to, I was actually supposed to see her when I was back in Illinois and I didn't get to. So we haven't actually seen each other since 2019. And I reached out to her and just said hi, and I would love to connect. And we've already connected. I've connected with both of them already. And there's a thing on the calendar to continue to do that. So I said part of the reason I was doing this video is in case you need a reminder. So I would really like to encourage you, because I think there's a good chance for anybody probably watching this video that you have intentionally maybe, but quite possibly not intentionally, maybe ignored some of the things going on within you. Maybe thought, well, it's really not that big of a deal, or I've got other things really that I need to focus on right now. Some way you've denied, avoided, minimized your own needs or desires. So if so, this is your reminder to check in with yourself. How are you? Really? How is your heart feeling? How is your body feeling? Your mind, your heart, and your body all deserve to feel good. Whether that's peaceful, connected, motivated, energized, whatever that means for you. And maybe it changes hour by hour. But you deserve that. And the only way that we can really bring that into our lives is by being aware of what we need, how we're really feeling, and then create an opportunity or a plan to bring that, to create that for yourself. I'd love to hear from you. What did you notice coming up for you as you listened? Can you relate to this? Share your thoughts or comments below. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure to do so and click the bell for notifications. And if you found this video interesting or helpful, or think that somebody else might benefit from it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and maybe even share it with somebody. Thanks again so much for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you soon.